Now, in your experience, how have you seen problem-solving skills develop when kids start doing this kind of coding?
Um, as a 21st century skill, critical thinking is very strongly linked to problem solving. And I think that's where the answer to that lies. It's an amazing thing to see children as young as grade 2, 8-year-olds actually try to write the program and then they debug their own mistake. And that's wonderful to see how they see that what is happening is not what they intended to happen, and they can go back and find the mistake themselves and correct it. And that's a wonderful skill in the whole problem solving process.
Now, what's the difference between teaching computer literacy and coding?
Sure, I think the answer lies in the word control. If you are being taught to be computer literate, you can use a computer, but if you get to the level of coding, you can actually make the computer do things that you want him to do. And there's a big difference between the two. The level, the depth of understanding of a computer is also much higher when you go to the coding level.
Now, how do we incorporate coding into curriculum? Is it a subject?
At Kira, we introduced it formally. We used in grade 4 to 6, we used the technology time for the technology curriculum, and we used the NXT Lego sets there. EV3 is the new one. In the grade 2 and 3 phase, we actually made it part of so-called beginner knowledge. So yes, it must be a formal part of the curriculum, a specific space where children are made comfortable with it.
Now, I know we're speaking specifically about Kiro, but do you see coding as part of the curriculum being something that we're going to start seeing on more of a wide scale as we move forward?
We should. In England, it's been introduced. They did the first pilots this year already, and Australia is also on the bandwagon now. So if we want to stay in the race of global competitiveness, we will have to find a way to do it in the broader South African system as well.
Now, tell us about how the learners pick up the coding. How do they adapt to it? Is it something they enjoy doing, or is it a strenuous subject like, let's say, math or science?
We took a lot of trouble not to make it something that children will end up hating. How we manage it in our classrooms is we children work in pairs. It's always a little bit safer to have a buddy next to you to do it. So we literally share a set of Lego and a laptop between 2 children. We try to mix the boys and the girls because somehow there's a little bit of gender bias. People say girls don't like it, which I'm not always sure whether it's true. But people expect boys to like it and not girls to like it. There's a center in the United States where they actually made the building blocks pink to make it more attractive for little girls to play with it. So we've taken a lot of care to make sure that children enjoy what they do, and there's a huge amount of enjoyment in it. I've seen how kind of 12-year-old children ran to the toilet and back at one of our robotics competitions to get back on time to actually achieve what they want to achieve. So because there's such a, if you do the coding can also be taught in other ways, and we did write some other coding into our IT curriculum as well. But if you link it to the robots, it's such a nice visible sign of success in terms of what you try to achieve that it's kind of addicting for children. They really enjoy doing it.
Now, is this something that parents can teach children at home?
Yes, it is. I suppose it's always associated with a kind of engineering parent, but there's a huge drive. You're most probably aware of the Coding Week that started yesterday, African Coding Week, where they want to expose 20,000 children all over Africa to the basic coding skills. It's possible to do it. They want to almost make it a community responsibility, parents being involved in it. I think we can't only leave it to the teachers because our teachers are not really equipped for it. So we've got this first hurdle to overcome to make them confident to teach it. I think the playfulness that the robotics bring to the party makes it a little bit easier for teachers. And we also need to get our teachers to get over this thing that they always need to know better. they need to learn with the children almost. So I think it's something that if a parent is brave enough and can adapt that thing, that I don't have to teach the children to do it, but I can learn with them. That's the answer to it.
Do you find that teachers and parents, or even any adult, is a little bit intimidated by trying to teach something like this?
I think the idea is a lot more intimidating than the real thing. The minute that you sit down and you start working on it, it's not that difficult. I mean, it's just basic logical thinking, and it still remains one of those skills that we cannot deny our children going forward into this century, which is already 15 years old.
Yeah. Now tell us about Code Week.
Oh, the Code Week is an initiative that in Cape Town was launched by the Cape Town Science Centre over this past weekend. They just tried to train the trainers, and everybody has been requested to, in this week, do a workshop and this exposure of X amount of children to it. Of course, we are 4 years ahead of it. So we are really proud of our achievement as Curro.
All right, Alta, for anyone watching this video who wants more information on the Curro School or coding, how can they get hold of you or find out more information?
Oh, they can go and look on our website, www.curro.co.za. Under curriculum, you will find some information.